The date, July 4th, 2023. The place, Pageland, South Carolina. Normally, Independence Day is a time for celebration for us Americans. This was not the case, however, in 2023 for Jacob Williamson, a sweet and hardworking transgender man. His body would be found on the side of the road, discarded like he were nothing more than a piece of garbage. Poor Jacob was only 18 years old, still a baby. His life had really just begun. Considering what state this happened in, I have to wonder, what happened here? Was it a hate crime? I don't like to assume before I get the facts. Whatever the case may be, it is still a tragedy. Guys, before I get started, I just want to say that no matter how you feel about trans people, can we please keep it respectful in the comments, at least on this video, because this is about somebody who was killed, and they were somebody's son, brother, whatever. I don't even know yet because I don't know the details, but regardless, I just know that they were a person that was killed. So please, can we please not be disrespectful in the comments? That's all I'm asking. But yeah, I guess let's get into it.
Community came together for Trans Day of Remembrance. Yesterday marked a day to remember people who were killed because of anti-transgender hatred or prejudice.
Jacob Williamson, an 18-year-old white transgender man, was tragically killed in Monroe, North Carolina on June the 30th. Williamson loved to sing and draw. He lived in South Carolina and worked at a local Waffle House. Oh, and by the way, this is from Human Rights Campaign, I think, .org. So yeah, it's I'm reading from them. Anyways, Williamson loved to sing and draw. He lived in South Carolina and worked at a local Waffle House, and was beloved by his coworkers. Williamson's death is at least the 14th violent killing of a transgender or gender non-conforming person in 2023. Well, that's a good stat to know, right? We say at least because too often these deaths go unreported or misreported. I have a hard time pronouncing the plural version of death for some reason, so my apologies. About a month prior to his death, Jacob was forced to leave his home after being rejected by some family members for being transgender. That's heartbreaking. However, he had recently moved in with one of his coworkers, Promise Edwards. Okay, this is a quote from Promise Edwards, the coworker. "This world was so cruel to Jacob his entire life. I find peace in knowing that in the last month and a half he found peace," unquote. Yeah, I can imagine that somebody growing up and the world just treats them like shit. I can relate to that. This is another quote from Tori Cooper, who is the director of community engagement for the Human Rights Campaign. Quote, "The fatal attacks against our community are always heartbreaking, but that heartbreak is compounded when the person is killed is so young and unable to live out their hopes and dreams." I totally agree with that. It does. It makes it a lot worse. Williamson was a light to so many, and we stand with those who loved him as they seek justice, unquote. Yeah, the more I do the more episodes of the show that I do, I keep finding myself going back to hrc.org more and more. They seem to be a really valuable asset for doing these episodes, at least. And yeah, because it is kind of a human rights matter, in my opinion. So that's what was going on in Jacob's life. Now let's find out what happened to him and why he is no longer with us. Jacob Williamson was last seen leaving his job with a man who he had been talking to online for around a month. Okay, interesting. A trans man that is attracted to men, so a gay man, I guess. A gay trans man. Whatever. That always makes me pause anytime I hear about somebody that's like trans and they're attracted to, just who they would be if they weren't trans, basically. But I don't know, you know what I'm saying, right? Okay, I don't have to explain all that. But yeah, it always makes me, it's interesting to me, I'll just put it that way. Anyways, I don't expect all trans people to be like me, but it's just, in my experience, I've just seen it go the other way more often than not. So, anywho, he was last seen leaving his job with a man who he had been talking to online for around a month. They were reportedly going on a date to an amusement park several hours away. Williamson had shared his location with Edwards, the roommate, roommate, who noted that it was, quote, pinging all over the place, unquote. But police could not find Williamson in any of those locations. That sucks. His body was finally recovered near a road on July 4th. Police have taken 2 suspects into custody. The man who picked up Williamson in his car, the date, and a woman who is suspected to have aided the man after he committed the murder. Poor Jacob. Tragically, interpersonal violence accounts for a significant number of fatalities against transgender and gender non-conforming people. A report by the HRC Foundation, quote, called An Epidemic of Violence 2022, found that between 2013 and 2022, approximately 1/3, 29%, of transgender and gender non-conforming people with known killers had close personal ties to them. In other words, it was an acquaintance, friend, family member, or intimate partner that killed him. Intimate partners specifically accounted for 1 in 5, 19% of all known perpetrators, and it is likely this may even be an undercount. To date, the relationship of the victim to the killer is still unknown for a plurality of 44% of all identified cases of fatal violence. Wow, that's disheartening. I guess I better watch my back around my peoples. In an injustice compounding this tragedy, Williamson was misgendered in some media and police reports. That really sucks. I hate that. Anti-transgender stigma is exacerbated by callous or disrespectful treatment by some in the media, law enforcement, or elected offices. That's total bullshit. The person was killed. Come on now. You can't. I don't know what some people are thinking. I don't understand that. I just don't. I don't get it at all. According to HRC research, it is estimated that approximately 3/4 of all known victims were misgendered by the media and or by law enforcement. Get with it, people. So really, the only details I could find further as of yet, since this case is ongoing, is the fact that the suspect who supposedly killed Jacob, his name is Joshua Newton, and it is Joshua's girlfriend or wife, I think I read, that is the other woman that is suspected in aiding Joshua. So, since this case is ongoing and everything, that's really all the details I could get. But I still wanted to do an episode about Jacob just because I found it really heartbreaking when I first was looking for a case to do, and it just stuck out to me. Supposedly Jacob was a very nice, well-liked guy, and it just tears me up. I will do a follow-up episode once I can find some more detail, or some more information comes out or whatever. And yeah, so that's where I'm gonna leave it for now. But I'm gonna light a virtual candle for Jacob because it was a life cut way, way too short. 18 years old is still a baby in my opinion. So, Jacob, this candle's for you. And yeah, like I always say, let's try to treat each other with kindness and love, because we're only here for one short, fleeting amount of time, and then it's over. So, anyways, I hope Jacob gets justice. And yeah, oh, I did find one other thing that I wanted to say. The roommate, Promise Edwards, that Jacob was living with, was not invited to the funeral by the family. They did not want her there because she would not stop calling Jacob Jacob. In other words, the family did not like him being called Jacob, and that just is heartbreaking. So, Promise, I hope that you were able to grieve in your own way, and I'm sorry that happened. That's awful. That's so unnecessary for people to do that. Anyways, that's really disrespecting the person that is dead. That's really disrespecting them, in my opinion. Anyways, guys, that's all I got for this episode. I will see y'all on the next one. I love you guys. Goodbye.